You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Days of Our Lives fans. So Kristen DiMera threw the courtroom into a frenzy when she burst in and falsely confessed to shooting her brother. And more than anything, Kristen wants the secret that Rachel shot EJ to stay hidden, but that seems impossible. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and we're going to talk about Kristen's desperation to keep up the ruse to protect Rachel. But honestly, how long is this tragic secret going to remain hidden? It's doubtful it can last forever. Please click subscribe if you're not following us. Let's get right into how this could come out. So Johnny is a free man and his Aunt Kristen is in the slammer. She is not an innocent person by any means, but she's usually somebody who, drugs people, molests them, tries to steal embryos, plays blackmail games, stuff like that. Shooting her brother is a little outside of Kristen's pattern of behavior, but even more so, confessing to a crime is. So Chad DiMera was thinking about her spontaneous court-disrupting confession and calling it into question when he was talking to his brother. And of course, EJ was trying to quell Chad's doubts so that he could keep his word to Kristen to not let anybody know the truth. The deal was EJ wouldn't tell anybody what Rachel did. And to be fair, EJ doesn't want to traumatize Rachel any further. And at least EJ has the insight to understand his own actions did drive Rachel to pull that gun on him. Then again, Kristen was neck deep in that Rachel Blake mess as well. But just as EJ would do anything to protect Johnny, of course, Kristen is feeling the same way about Rachel. I will say Kristen running in there to confess to shooting EJ just before the verdict came out was quite selfless. A lot of parents, I think, would do what Kristen did. But right now, very few people know that Rachel shot EJ. There's the victim himself, her mom, Kristen, and Rachel's beloved grandma, Dr. Marlena Evans. And they all agreed to keep it hush-hush for the time being, honestly, for forever if they can. Because right now, little Rachel Black has dissociative amnesia, according to Marlena. So the kiddos got no idea she shot Uncle EJ, and finding out that she did would be very traumatic for Rachel. So all that being said, I think it's only a matter of time before word starts spreading of who really shot EJ. The big question is, will it become widely known public knowledge around Salem that Rachel shot EJ, or will a few more people find out and then they also agree to sit on that big secret? Kind of like with the Philip forgery thing. First it was him and Vivian, and then Kate was pulled into it, and then it wound up with Sarah and Stephanie and Belle and Alex all covering for Philip for one reason or another. And although more people have found out so far, it's still not widely known in Salem that Xander and the judge were duped by Philip's scheme. Of course, Xander knows, but it's still largely under wraps. So that has me wondering who finds out next that Kristen lied about the shooting to save her only child, Rachel. Right now, Marlena does see Kristen's actions as selfless and protective and the actions of a good mom when they were talking about the best thing to do for Rachel's mental health. And in most scenarios, Kristen is usually all about Kristen. Although she genuinely loves Rachel, we have seen Kristen commit numerous dastardly deeds in the name of love on Days of Our Lives that hurt her daughter, not directly like this, but that, had her daughter as collateral damage, including times when Kristen has been in prison and Rachel's been heartbroken about it. On the flip, we've also seen little troublemaker Rachel wreaking havoc and ruining her dad Brady's relationship. And now the tween kid has gone and shot her Uncle EJ, even though he claims it was accidental. So there's issues there. And I think it all comes from Kristen's DNA, if we're being honest about that. So right now we've got Rachel very distraught that her mom, Kristen, is in jail for shooting EJ. It's eating her up. And when Sarah saw Brady and Rachel outside the pub, Rachel told Sarah she's very sad about her mom being in jail, and she gave Rachel a big hug. Now, a while back, our reliable leaker told us that Sarah's going to find out from Rachel that she's the one who shot EJ, but Sarah shouldn't find that out for a while because Rachel herself still doesn't remember that she shot EJ. I think at some point it's all going to come flooding back to Rachel. As for Brady, he has no reason to doubt Kristen's confession because Brady knows exactly how awful Kristen can be, and he walked out on her in jail promising she'd never see Rachel again. I do think Marlena may encourage Brady to show some grace to Kristen, and that alone should raise Brady's suspicions because that's not going to feel quite right to him. I also suspect Marlena may encourage Brady to take Rachel to see Kristen while she's behind bars for both of their sakes, but Kristen did make Marlena promise secrecy about Rachel. So Brady may get an inkling that something's not quite right. I don't know if he'll figure it out on his own. I'm guessing Marlena won't crack, but once Rachel remembers and tells Sarah, I think all bets are off. I do think Sarah might tell Brady the awful truth just so he can be a better and supportive dad to Rachel during this ordeal. Meanwhile, Chad's still got questions, and in Days of Our Lives spoilers for this week, Leo and Chad are talking about the whole Kristen confession while they're at the Spectator office. Leo already wants to write a novel or an expose, a book about his time as a juror in Johnny's trial. And so Chad could encourage Leo to do some digging, do some investigative journalism, and uncover the truth because it just doesn't add up about Kristen. And again, I think Chad believes Kristen is capable of shooting EJ. I mean, half of Salem wanted him dead, and the DiMeras have taken shots at each other. But it's the fact that Kristen confessed that is wildly out of character for her and has Chad head scratching. Plus, Leo said Johnny was going to be found not guilty, and Gwen overheard, and she blabbed that to EJ. With Gwen living at the mansion, she may get suspicious and could even go see Kristen in Statesville, start asking questions. Gwen also knows Kristen confessing is not her usual modus operandi. So it could be that Gwen keeps pushing Kristen and she snaps and finally tells Gwen the truth, but also swears her to secrecy. If so, Gwenny may try to find a way to get Kristen out of this prison sentence. I do expect Rachel to remember, and when she does, there's a chance she could even go confess to get her mom Kristen out of prison. Good news is Rachel would probably only get a shorter sentence, not a life sentence. She'd probably be sent to Bayview's juvenile guest wing, and then they could write Rachel out for a couple of years and then do a Saurus, bring her back as a teenager fresh out of Bayview to terrorize Kristen and Brady with extreme teenage antics. I think that would be pretty interesting. I'm excited to see who finds out the truth about Rachel first.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.